What do you at? It's Paul from Wicked Acorn. Oh, another panicked start. I'm behind schedule today, but here we are, all the same. And what is it? It's the 30th of September, the last of the month. And what do we do on the last of the month? We have to have some kind of last of month or first of month celebration, something to. Hello, Asterix M1234. Uh, Today, what are we talking about today? Today in history. We got a few things today in history. Good morning, Asterix. It's hmm, what do we have today? Well, our where is it photo is certainly out of the bag, and Rick has not left the building. Well, he has left the building, but you'll see what I mean in a second. Uh, Rikki, Tikki, Tavi, that was the first thing that came to my mind when coming up with a title for this video. Who wrote that? Was that, oh, who wrote that story? I remember reading that story in like grade two or something in school. Rikki, Tikki, Tavi. Um, oh, what was his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Um, I can't remember. If you remember his name, put it in the comments there. Did you read that story growing up? Rikki Tikki Tavi about the what was it, a mongoose? And he fought a cobra, or saved the family by killing the cobra snake. Or I really don't remember. Long time ago since I read that story. Anyway, I'm sure it's a name that Rick got called in his youth. Teased him about that name for sure. Um, let's see. Today in history. What happened today in history? Jack Wilde. Remember Jack Wilde? Talk about back in the good old days. Jack Wilde was born on the 30th of September. He was an English actor and singer and best known for his role as the Artful Dodger in the film Oliver in 1968, for which he received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor at the age of 16, becoming the fourth youngest nominee in the category. He also received a BAFTA Award and Golden Globe Award nominations for the role. Wilde also starred in the television series HR Pufnstuf. Remember that one? That was part of my childhood, and its film adaptation Pufnstuf 1970, as well as in the films Melody 1971 and Robin Hood Prince of Thieves 1991. That's the one with the sycamore tree, isn't it? The sycamore gap tree. It's not a story I'm familiar with. Okay, we're going to have to look it up. I made a new screen today for just this purpose. Let me see here. For just this purpose, when these things happen, I don't even know if I'm spelling it right. Rikki Tikki Tavi. Yes, Rudyard Kipling. Let me see if I can get this. There we go. Um, Let me see here. There we go. And just let me fix this. I didn't think I'd be using this screen tonight. Is the chat going to show up there? Yes, it is. It's not showing. There we go. Rikki Tikki Tavi is a short story in the 1894 short story collection, The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling, about adventures of a valiant young Indian gray mongoose. It has often been anthologized and published several times as a short book. Book 5 of Panchatantra An ancient Indian collection includes the mongoose and the snake story, and is an inspiration for Rikki Tikki Tavi's story. Um, yeah, a lot of his stories were um, adaptations from Indian folk tales, I guess. You know, how the camel got its hump and how the leopard got his spots and all those kind of things. So that was something I grew up with in our reader in school. I can still picture the book. I think it was orange, an orange book, and it was long this way, not this way. It had a gray photo on the cover. I can't remember. It's a very vague memory. Anyway, we shouldn't digress too much. Um, Now, what do I got to do here now? Right, back to that screen. Um, yeah, I had to look up the Prince of Thieves, which is who's in that one? That's Kevin Costner, right? He was in Prince of Thieves, and I had to look it up because I didn't remember him from Prince of Thieves. And no wonder he plays a very minor character called Much. Much, the miller's son. That's him on the left. I don't know if he even had any lines. But speaking of magic flutes, on this day in history in 1791, Mozart's Magic Flute first premiered at the, I can't pronounce any of this, Schickenader's Frauhaus Theater auf der Weiden in Vienna, Austria. Apologies for the pronunciations. September 30th, 1791, the first premiere of the Magic Flute. Did the flute have a name? Was it just called Flutie or something? Uh, on this day in history, um, Robinson Crusoe was shipwrecked. In the Daniel Defoe novel Robinson Crusoe occurs on September 30th, 1659. Robinson Crusoe washes ashore on a deserted island after a storm blows his ship off course. He later marks this date on a large cross he erects, using it to keep track of his time on the island. That is, I think that's considered like the first novel, isn't it? I can't remember. And of course, I told you yesterday, Sir William Cunliffe Brooke's birthday is today. He was the first baronet. Um, a bunch of letters. 30th of September 1819. He was an English barrister, banker, and conservative politician who sat in the House of Commons between 1869 and 1892. Brooks was the son of Samuel Brooks. So we've talked about Samuel Brooks. He's the founder of Brooklands here. Samuel Brooks, a banker of Manchester, and his wife Margaret Hall, daughter of Thomas Hall. After his education at Rugby and St. John's College, Cambridge, he was called to the bar at Inner Temple in 1847. He went on to the Northern Circuit until the death of his father in 1864, when he became sole partner of Cunliffe Brooks and Company, Manchester. He opened Brooks and Company, 81 Lombard Street, London. He was a JP for Lancashire, Cheshire, and Manchester, and deputy lieutenant, right, for Lancashire and Aberdeen. His main residence for most of that time was the historic Barlow Hall, Chorlton-cum-Hardy. And I was showing you that a while ago. We were looking at the mantle in Barlow Hall with his initial monogram, WCB. So that was our Where Is It photo from the last live stream. And it was from the countdown screen, if you remember. Oh, it's like that camera's a bit low. I'll fix that when I go back to the main screen. Um, yeah, so there it is from our countdown screen. And of course, we all know where it is. There's the wider shot of it from the screenshot. Ashton Lane, is it? So there's our photo from the last live stream. It's the fountain, and that's going to be in the video we're going to watch now in a minute. So our where is it photo for the next live stream. Where is it? Let me take a sip. Somebody must know where this one is. All right, that is our photo for the next live stream. And yeah, that camera's tilted down a bit too much. There we go. I was rushing to get ready here this evening, as per usual. Switch over to this one. So we're going to watch this video that was mostly Rick did this video on my channel. This is back during the Queen's Jubilee. So whatever year that was. So we'll have a listen. Hi, it's Paul from Wicked Acorn. We're in Tatton Park celebrating the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. There are festivities all over the nation today. Yesterday we went out and shot some video, so I'm handing the reins over to Rick Ainsworth in Ashton upon Mersey.
Hi, I'm Rick.
I'm Paul.
And welcome to another one of our videos. I'm here in the great village of Ashton on Mersey, which is 5 miles south of the city centre. As you can see, the community are getting together to celebrate our Queen's 70th anniversary of being on the throne, and it's a platinum one at that.
That's what you get at the beginning.
Will you be celebrating the Queen's Jubilee?
Of course, yes, we're having a street party.
You're having a street party. Which street is that?
Shelton Avenue.
Shelton Avenue. And how many people have been invited to it?
Oh, well, all the neighbours, it's about 20 houses.
I'm going to show a view behind me that was taken over 100 years ago. The original building here was built in 1887, and behind me was the late 1950s extension to the building. Many people have come here as children, even myself, and even my wife's mother, Beryl Maddox, worked here. It's great that it's still here, and buildings like this need to be protected around sale, because more and more of them are disappearing into nothing and just becoming memories and pictures.
So Rick did a video a while ago about this, and we spoke about it on a live stream together. Rick's got a bit of a crusade on the go to try and get the clock working in the tower again. That's something of interest. You might want to follow Rick for that. Richard Ainsworth on YouTube. You can't find Rick Ainsworth. You would think the second largest search engine in the world could figure out Richard from Rick, but apparently not. So don't search for Rick Ainsworth. It's Richard Ainsworth.
disappearing into nothing and just becoming memories and pictures. It's very poignant as well. Queen Victoria's 50th year on the throne, and this building was built, and now we've got our Queen's 70th Platinum Jubilee coming up as well. I think it's fantastic, and you know, for the community and everyone to celebrate it is a great thing, and should always be that way. This is the first.
So that's something I wanted to talk about yesterday about philanthropy. There's a folly on the hill, is it? Yeah, you guys should know where that photo is. I'll show it again before we leave. But yesterday we were talking about philanthropy, and it was something I wanted to get into, and unexpectedly Rick showed up and joined in the stream. So I was struggling to get things ready and forgot to well, there wasn't really time to get into it. But talking about philanthropy, Sir William Cunliffe Brooks donated a lot of buildings in his lifetime. This is a classic example. And I was just thinking, I don't recall hearing about any buildings for QE2 on her Platinum Jubilee. I don't recall anything being unveiled for her Platinum Jubilee. I'm sure there was, but I didn't hear about anything. Nothing comes to mind anyway, but I'm sure something was. But these kind of things just don't happen anymore. People don't. Our modern day billionaires and multimillionaires just want to hold on to their money. They seem to think they can take it with them.
To celebrate it is a great thing, and should always be that way. This is the first location we'll be visiting today, showing the generosity of Sir William Cunliffe Brooks. Mr. Brooks was a local banker and an MP who funded the project to build Brooks's Institute, which is behind me. This was built in 1887 to celebrate our Queen Victoria's 50th anniversary on the throne. This is a mock Tudor building built on Carrington Lane in Ashton-on-Mersey and serves the community centre for meetings, also for polling station and elections. The building is Grade 2 listed. Grade 2 basically means it's defined as a UK building or a structure that is of special interest and warranting every effort to save it or preserve it.
The Jubilee tube line, yeah, maybe. It sounds familiar, but again, that would be a government scheme, wouldn't it? A government-funded thing, not an individual. There's just individuals, our multi-millionaire and billionaire friends just don't seem to do these kind of things. I'm sure there are buildings and things like this all over the country from Queen Victoria's Jubilee. I'm sure all kinds of millionaires from back in the late 1800s unveiled donations to the people back in the day. Another one that comes to mind is, what's his name? Carnegie. And he opened a lot of public museums. And the one that comes to mind is the one in Chorlton cum Hardy. It's very distinctive. They're all very distinctive. They're all very different, but they're all very distinctive buildings, usually in the center of town or the center of the village. They're all over the country, all over the world, actually. Carnegie, his philanthropic gestures to the world. Not that these were great people, but at least they gave back something, didn't they?
I'm shortly going to our second location, showing the generosity of Sir William Cunliffe Brooks. Behind me, this would have been fields, and across to the left-hand side, it would also have been farmland and fields. So at this moment in time when these buildings were first built, it was very, very rural. Both Brooks Institute and the column were paid for by Sir William Cunliffe Brooks, and Mr. George Truefit, an architect based in London and Manchester, had the drawings made up. Crowds of people would have come here to witness this being presented to the people. Ashton-on-Mersey's first water fountain for the people. Unfortunately, it's now been moved with its location stripped of all its honours. It used to have a gas.
So apparently it was moved. You can see it's in the center of the intersection junction in the roads there. Used to be in the middle, and apparently people kept running into it, and somebody was killed there, I believe, and not the only person, but sometime in the 50s, I'm going to say, somebody was killed there, and that was like the last straw, and they moved it, which is a bit of a shame, but I guess safety first. You got to protect drunk people from themselves. I probably shouldn't say that to the poor guy or girl, whoever it was. I don't know the circumstances, but usually that's what happens, isn't it? How do you hit something like that in the middle of the road? Anyway, apparently that's why it was moved, and you can see there was a lot more to it back in the day, and Rick was wondering where it's all gone. Was it a casualty of the scrap metal in the Second World War? And you can see there's a post box there as well. So yeah, things have changed, not for the better in that circumstance, I think. I think that's a lovely thing that's been lost there.
It's now been moved with its location stripped of all its honours. It used to have a gas lamp on the top of it. The base of the column actually stood here, and it would have been seen by everyone who came down from Ashton Lane, up Barker's Lane, from Moss Lane, and all down to Ashton-on-Mersey village. It's now been moved to a new site in the 1960s, and is a former state of what it used to be. Thousands of people drive past here every single day, and you can see the column here that was erected in 1881 by Sir William Cunliffe Brooks. There's not much left of it. It's also been taken away, its old gas lamp that used to be on the top here. The base of the column on one side is used as a drinking fountain for pedestrians. The space between the three other sides of the base and the outer circles was used for horse, cattle and dog troughs. Above there is a massive pillar with a postal letterbox next to it. The whole column is made of Argyllshire red granite. The inside troughs were finely dressed and polished. Right, so, one interesting fact about here, it was called Newton Green. Now, I wasn't aware there used to be gallows here, so this spot right here could have been the last thing that someone would have seen before they put a noose around their neck and was executed at this very spot. If anyone knows of anyone that was done or any stories, please put them in the comments box, and I'd love to read and know about them. Victorian justice was very brutal at the time, so if you committed a crime, it normally meant a noose around your neck. Thanks for watching this video. If anyone's got any stories they want to tell about an old property around this area, me and Paul would love to come to the property and film it, and also you can say something on camera if you wish. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and if you have any comments, additional history you can tell us about this place, we'd love to hear from it. Once again, thanks for watching.
2022. There we go. That is our Where Is It photo from last time. Ashton Lane, is it? I'll just go back to, yes, I think you might be right. I think that is some kind of monument or something up on the hill there. Something up on the hill. So that's our Where Is It photo for next time. And yeah, it's a shame. I'm sure I had another video I was going to watch. Maybe I'll put it on now if I can find it. If I still have it there. I get really ticked off about the billionaires and multi-billionaires in the world these days. They Arlie Hall? No, not Arlie Hall. I don't think it's called Arlie Hall. It's not known by that name, or it's not known to me by that name. Just give me a second here. Here we go. This is just a 3-minute video on philanthropy. This applies to the United States mostly, but this kind of thing happens here as well. Now, I'm sure there are multimillionaires and billionaires out there that are great people and want to do good things, but I don't see much evidence of it.
Approximately 660 billionaires in the United States increased their wealth in the pandemic, just during the pandemic, by about $1.8 trillion. In other words, the entire stimulus bill was $1.9 trillion. So they could afford to have paid for the entire stimulus and be no worse off than they were when the pandemic started. The very rich in this country have used philanthropy as a public relations device to take away attention from the fact that they are basically cleaning up. Inequality increased dramatically during the pandemic, and the little bits that billionaires and the very rich gave out in philanthropy was just a tiny sliver of the amount their fortunes grew during the pandemic. Jeff Bezos, for example, provided during the pandemic $100 million to food banks, and everybody applauded. Isn't that wonderful of Jeff Bezos? Well, yes, that was good, but $100 million, that's 11 days worth of Jeff Bezos's income off of his assets. 11 days, folks. Over the last 5 years, the Gates Foundation earned from its investments $28.5 billion. How much of that did the Gates Foundation actually pay out in charities, charitable contributions? $23.5 billion. Doesn't that seem a little bit odd? But worse, it is actually ironically paid for by the rest of us. Because, you see, there's something called a charitable deduction. A charitable deduction, or the charitable deduction, allows the wealthy to reduce their taxable incomes by the amount that they give in charity. That comes to about $44 billion a year. In a way, the rest of us are saying, here, take this $44 billion and you decide how you want to distribute this. If you want to give it to concert halls and operas that you frequent so you can have your name etched in the marble, go ahead, do that. We'll give you that $44 billion. You decide. Instead of we, the people of the United States, deciding how our tax money is going to be used. Another thing that's troubling is conflicts of interest. I mean, the Gates Foundation provided $250 million to companies in which the Gates Foundation actually holds stocks and bonds. If that's not a conflict of interest, I don't know what is, because remember, all of these contributions are subsidized by American taxpayers. A lot of people look at the charitable contributions of the ultra-wealthy and they say, oh, isn't that wonderful? We don't need, as a country, to worry as much about the very poor or about our social safety nets that are coming apart. What they don't realize is that even if you add up all these charitable contributions together, there are a small portion of what the government can and should be doing and has done for the poor in the past. So we can't rely on these charitable contributions. Even if they actually did go to the poor, they would not be a substitute in any way for public assistance.
So that guy is Robert Reich. He was in Clinton's cabinet, I think. So the same kind of thing happens in Britain. Same kind of thing. These charitable foundations. A little less so in this country. There are more rules around charity. It actually has to go to charity, but in the United States, it's just a tax shelter. It's really sad, really sad. Like yeah, they put this money into a fund. They can continue to use it, and most of it goes to salaries for their brother or their brother-in-law or their children or whatever. They extract a salary from it, and that's the charitable donation. You hear about this all the time, right? Like, X amount of dollars from your donation go to the actual charity. That has to be stated, I think. Like 40% of your donation will go directly to the charity, or some percentage will go directly to the charity. The rest of it is getting gobbled up by salaries of people implementing the charity. And like Elon Musk, his charitable fund didn't even meet the 5% minimum donation last couple of years. 5%. Anyway, I just don't see the kind of philanthropy that we saw in the late 1800s and early 1900s. You just don't see that kind of philanthropy anymore. And it's sad. There's so much money out there, and people could be doing more to help the common man. I worked for not for the Janeway, but I worked on the Janeway telethon. It's like your Red Nose telethon thing that you do here. The Janeway is the children's hospital in St. John's, Newfoundland, and they have a telethon every year to raise money for some piece of equipment or whatever. And I found out while working on the telethon, you'll see what they do is at the end they have a big finale, grand total reveal at the end of the telethon. This is how much money we raised. And you'll get people coming out during the telethon, presenting giant checks to the Janeway Foundation, the Janeway Children's Hospital, the giant check presentation for X amount of dollars. And when you go around you see these places, you'll see it here all over the place, little donation boxes on the counter in corner stores, corner shops, and you see them everywhere. And of course, those things are all over the place for the Janeway telethon leading up to the telethon. And something I learned from that, which was like, oh, that seems a little dirty, that does. So, like, if you go into Walmart, there'll be a little donation jar on the counter, so you got a couple of coins left over from your purchase back in the day when we used coins. You got some coins left over from your purchase, just put it in the donation jar, right? Like you would. That is part of the donation that Walmart gives, the big giant check. That's the coins you dropped in the donation jar at Walmart. So that seems a little underhanded to me that Walmart gets the credit for that donation. Maybe they match it or something. I don't know. I don't know what the story is behind it. But part of that big check that they give to the Janeway Telethon, at least part of it, is money that you donated through them. So it's just, these, I don't know what these things cost, an MRI machine or a lung scanner or whatever piece of equipment they're trying to raise money for. They only raise, I don't remember the totals, but, the numbers he was just talking about there, $11.9 billion, and it's 11 days work or something nonsense, right? It's like, it's insane. Anyway, I could go on about politics all day. It's politics is as interesting to me as history, but I won't drag you too far down that road unless you want to. So our where is it photo one more time? Yes, it does begin with C. No, it's not Cape Thorn Hall. Yes, it does begin with C. All right, I will leave you there. I'm just reading your comments here. You cheated. No, that's not fair. Okay, well, we'll leave it for the next one. We'll be seeing a video related to this location tomorrow. And that's all I have to say about that. So thanks for dropping by. We'll see you in the next one.